objective of the project is to mitigate the flooding in this particular area. I mean, that's, we call it stormwater improvements, to basically consist of replacing the old undersized drainage pipes with larger capacity pipes. In most cases, the pipes are being upsized for twice the capacity to essentially convey the water that accumulates in this particular section out into the large junction box, and then into two major outfalls, 36-inch diameter each. It is important to realize that this is one of the lowest elevations in the entire city, right at the sidewalk of the elevation of the sidewalk at the entrance of the park is elevation 3 above sea level. We are in a flood zone. This is an AE10 flood zone. So the key word is that we are. Our goal is to improve the drainage and the flooding here. That is, we're trying to mitigate the flooding. Certainly, we're fighting Mother Nature, and there's no engineer in the world that's going to guarantee this system that is going to be eliminating the flooding 100%. It's just that realistically, that's not going to happen. You're fighting Mother Nature. You're fighting the topography of the site. This is a low-lying area. And that's the reality. But the objective, I think somebody asked, what's the goal here, is to mitigate the flooding in this particular intersection. I mean, we had the opportunity to get a grant from EPA. So the action was either take no action, leave it the way it is, or try to do the best we can with the knowledge that we have and the conditions that we have surrounding the area to work with. So part of the improvements was to build that seawall in the back of Constitution Park, build a seawall behind CCU's parking lot. This is a joint project with the county, by the way. The county is helping the city pay the 20% of match towards this grant, where the federal government is paying the other 80%.
I don't think the problem is that you're doing the project. The problem is maintaining the project so we can continue that business. That's what we're all concerned about. It's not the project in itself, because I've said for 30 years that you guys need to do something. But I've been flooded more than probably anybody in this room. My company sucked up more water than we determined we want to do. But it's when we get hearsay that you guys are cutting that intersection, that ain't working for me. It's not gonna work for business. So as long as you guys can keep thoroughfare going, I don't think anybody in here is gonna be upset. Because my main business starts November and runs through December 25th. So if you guys cut that off, we're gonna have a problem. That's my business. And I've got a lot of elderly people that can't come down, back up, turn around, back up. So we gotta make sure that that continues to happen. And that's my big push for talking to the mayor about bringing this meeting together.
I don't think anybody has a problem with the contractor and what they're doing and the workmanship. As I see it, the problem is the design. You see, everything's going to feed by gravity out to the river or the bay, but the pipes as they are right now, even at low tide, are 50% submerged. And as soon as the tide comes up, they're covered in water. So the gravity system just won't work. I think that's what happened this weekend. We had a heavy rain and we had kind of a high tide. So those two pipes were pretty much submerged and water wasn't able to get out. At the same time, the bulkhead held water in and actually forced the water back into the street.
You're dealing with Mother Nature. You're dealing with the current topography. The outflow pipe elevations are basically at -3. Where else can you go? You can't go any higher than that.
What about the area behind Piggly Wiggly? When's something going to be done to help those people?
We already work in that area.
Oh.
We made some major drainage improvements behind the Piggly Wiggly, in front of the Piggly Wiggly, on the side of the Piggly Wiggly. We added pipes and they all tied into the CSX ditch that eventually conveys all that stormwater into the pump station.
So that because of the elevation of the apartments, that's the reason that they flood all the
You're
time?
talking about the apartments?
Yeah, the
It has to
Window
do
apartments
with-
right behind Piggly Wiggly?
Unfortunately, those apartments are below the ground elevation of the road. You know, they're always going to flood. I mean, ideally, your finished floor elevation should be at least a foot higher than the ground elevation of your road, so you have that positive drainage. The apartments sit below that elevation, and unfortunately, it's an issue that they're always going to deal with unless they decide to raise that building.